Nearing 30 years ago, The Legend of Zelda: A Link's Awakening was released for the Game Boy Color. It's Nintendo's first attempt at doing a sort of Zelda game that was similar to, like, say, A Link to the Past, but for the Game Boy. Now, in a sense, I can say, though, I'm removing my bias here because for those of you guys that are new and haven't met me before, I'm KingdomAce. I'm a big Zelda fan, and Link's Awakening was actually my very first Zelda game I ever played. And later on, it ended up becoming my favorite series I've ever played. And the thing about Link's Awakening, I feel, is that they tried to do what the SNES could do, but with limited buttons, that being on the Game Boy Color. But I always felt that there was something more that Nintendo could do for a game like The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. And finally, on the 13th of this month, Nintendo actually announced The Legend of Zelda: A Link's Awakening with a very own remake for the Nintendo Switch itself. When we got to the scene, they saved it for last. I already knew exactly what was coming. I saw this little scene right here, and I was like, okay, I'm really liking this art style. So as soon as I saw that boat, I was like, oh, it's Link's Awakening! It's Link's Awakening! Wait, I was just joking. This is Link's Awakening! This is Link's Awakening! And the thing about it, I always loved how the little animated intro had in the original game. It was kind of like little small gifs of it being dark and Link getting struck by lightning when he's lost at sea and fighting off the waves. And then he ends up seeing this island washing up on shore of Koholint Island. And this was so magical for me on the Game Boy Color. I thought this was still amazing. Of course, it doesn't look as good as Link to the Past, but this is what I call a traditional Zelda game. Now just look at this. Look at it, man. Just Link's Awakening looks so good. Now I know there's been a lot of debates recently about how some people feel about the art style, especially when the trailer they transitioned from an anime-like intro to more of a claymation style here. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call it claymation, but I can see why someone feels that way since it really does look like that. And especially since it's really aesthetically pleasing, it kind of looks like everything's made of clay. You can see the little shine on Link's cap right there. And I really love how they do like this Gaussian blur right here at the top to where anything that's not really close to Link is kind of out of focus, similar to when people take pictures with a DSLR camera. It'll do the same thing, or even their phones nowadays. It'll blur out the background and focus on what the person who's looking at this image is seeing. And that's what's Link on screen and what's in his general vicinity. What's off in the background will more than likely not be close to that attention. Now, if a game like Breath of the Wild did that, I can see that being a major problem because, hey, it's an open world game and I kind of need to see what's out in the distance so I know where to go to. But in this game, that's not really that important. This is a traditional Zelda game. Top down, it's kind of semi-top down. We even have things from the original on screen. You guys see the original Link's Awakening at this moment. You can see on the right, we have the general house where we started out at. It even has the fox that was there. Don't hit the fox, by the way. I know hearing this, people are gonna go back or play the original or something and don't hit the fox. Now, from the looks of it, from what I remember, you can't actually get hurt by the chain chomp here. Now, I know it looks like the chain chomp goes and attacks you and he runs away just like that, but you actually can't get hurt by it. He would just kind of go through you. So that was a little strange that he kind of dodged it like that, but I thought that was really cool. It even kept the attention to details with the cuckoo surrounding the blue house like that, and I thought that was really nice. Now, I know a lot of people coming from Breath of the Wild, this will probably be the next game that they play just because it's going to be accessible to them on the Nintendo Switch. A couple things like that, you won't really realize that, hey, I kind of need to, where am I going to get rupees from? I need rupees to buy things from shops and everything on Koholint Island. Now, Breath of the Wild was a lot different in how you do things like that. In this game, just like many other Zelda games, in order to get currency and other items, drops and stuff like that, whether it's bombs or rupees, etc., arrows or whatever, you're going to actually need to cut grass. So don't worry about actually hurting the chain chomp or getting him to get all mad at you or something like that. But you won't have to worry about that. And I just love that we're getting a traditional Zelda game on the Switch. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Breath of the Wild. You guys know that. I've uploaded plenty of videos on Breath of the Wild. I've done a whole stream playthrough of the game. You guys know how I feel about Breath of the Wild by this point. but just seeing how beautiful this game looks. Now, I want to go back there for a second. Right here, a lot of people were saying that they weren't really sure, even those people who do really like the art style of the game, because I'm really liking it too. Some people were a little bit not sure how they feel about Link's face here. Now, I can admit, Link's face is plain. He's got a little pointy nose and he's got just regular all black oval eyes. And I think for the aesthetic of this game, I feel like that's fine. In this sense, I feel like you're not really going to be seeing Link's face all that often, to where I feel like it needs a lot of detail. And I feel like for the art style here, I feel like any other eyes he would have, he like had real anime eyes, or the same kind of eyes the Chain Chomp has, where it's a white circle with a black dot inside. I feel like that just wouldn't look right. I feel like for this art style, that is the perfect kind of eyes that Link needs. Now, another attention to detail too that I've noticed is originally, I know it's a little hard to see in the actual old game, but Link didn't use the Hylian shield here. And I noticed that he has it in this game. And I feel like the only reason they did that was because people are going to recognize the Hylian shield from Breath of the Wild. And I feel like that's a good aesthetic choice to change it with, because I feel like as they're really trying to welcome new people with this game, especially since people like, I guess, non-real Zelda fans, I guess, were kind of expecting something else like Breath of the Wild, while veteran Zelda fan is, really ecstatic to see things like this. It's really nice to see how much detail, yet no detail, there is actually in this game. They kept old traditions there from the original Link's Awakening, but yet at the same time, they really made it feel fresh and new. Yeah, he may have the Hylian shield, but that still looks so cool on him. And they even kept like how pointy his ears are. Like, obviously his ears aren't that long in other games, but seeing how pointy they are here really makes him look like a little elf boy here. And I really like that. And see how you can see him cutting the grass, getting that. He has, now this is something I really wanted to bring up too. In the original Link's Awakening, you guys that played, like, say, Ocarina of Time, you know, say when a Deku scrub is shooting a little Deku nut at you, you'll use your shield to bounce it back at him to beat him. But in the original Link's Awakening, you didn't actually do that. You use it to deflect it to keep yourself from harm, but that's it. You still actually have to go up to this Octorok and still actually attack him. And I felt like that was a really good attention to detail that they kept in this game. They could have easily made it a little bit more like the later games, more modern games. I'll even add Ocarina of Time in that list because I did mention it before. But I really felt that was really cool to see how they kept that originally there just like that. And this is the crocodile's house too, the guy who loves bananas. You can even see, because, they actually have bananas on his house and everything, just like the old game. And I really do love that sort of thing. They really made this game to where not only if you've played Link's Awakening, you'll really find it awesome to go back to, yet feelings like such a new game at the same time, while still giving a big pleasure for new people here. That's what I feel like Nintendo is really good at. They're really good at pleasing both sides of the crowd here. And they even, oh my gosh, the dungeon right here the castle looks so good. You can even see the guards on the outside. The top of it is blurred out while you're mainly paying attention to what's around Link, where each door is at and everything. It just looks so much better than what it did before. And I feel like that's so beautiful, man. And oh my, look at the detail. I know some people say that doesn't make any sense when he says it has so much but no detail at all at the same time. It's like when you look at the trees in its own art style, it's very, very detailed. But yes, even though it may be simplistic, but that simplistic art style goes so far in the long run when you're actually looking at the game and seeing how aesthetically pleasing it is in its own art style. Similar to how a Pixar movie may not look realistic, but you can still appreciate, say, the threads on the toys' clothes and stuff like that. I feel like I can really appreciate how well designed even the trees in this game look, or even the motion of the water. And I feel like that's so nice. And Marin too, and I love the save points and everything too, and they have the butterflies that were always flying around in Link's Awakening 2 at the same time, and it made things look so beautiful. And the owl, who I'm not going to spoil for story reasons, who starts telling Link, he didn't actually say it here, but he's helping Link more on his quest too. And there's another close-up of Link's face too. You could tell again how really simplistic it looks, but I still feel like it works perfectly for its art style. Because again, you can tell that they chose to do it this way in a sense, instead of thinking that was the only thing they could have done, just because they're not afraid of detail, of course. Look at the owl, look how detailed the owl looks and drawn. And I feel like they obviously just had to choose Link to look like that. And I still feel like it's really, really well done. Now, in the original Link's Awakening, you probably have already seen, but at the bottom, it looked kind of similar, but everything that you had, like all the items you can equip, your hearts and etc., were all at this big little tan box at the bottom of the screen. And I always found that to be really ugly, and I just didn't think it literally looked right. And I felt like that would not fit on a console game. And look at here, it's gone. And I feel like that's so beautiful, just seeing a dungeon and we're just in there. Now, I'm sure there's probably a HUD for this game, but just for this trailer, they probably took it off. I'm mainly expecting maybe a little bar at the top that has our HP, our hearts up there, maybe up here in the top right corner, or in the top left corner. Probably top left corner will be hearts, and then in the top right we may have our item select, similar to Ocarina of Time, or we can quick select 3 different items. So that's what it'll probably end up being. And of course, we have a big topic of discussion for people who haven't really played Link's Awakening, and that's the Mario enemies. Why are there Goombas in Link's Awakening? I don't want to go too into that because I feel personally the in-game reason will explain there's an explanation for that, and I don't really want to spoil in this video, even though I already seen some people going into that. Maybe if those of you guys who have played the game want to say, hey, that's okay, I don't really consider that a spoiler. If other people feel like that's not really a spoiler, then maybe I'll make a video on that, but as of right now, I'm not too sure. There actually are more than just that. We have Cheeps, Piranha Plants, Thwomps, all of them are actually in this game. We even have Kirby, who's actually called Anti-Kirby, who's actually a villain in this game. Not necessarily like a main villain or anything, but like a bad guy you can fight in this game too. So I thought that was really, really cool that they have that for the in-game story reason why they're in there. I really find it cool that, again, this is the whole Nintendo verse, and they all kind of exist in the same universe. Kind of like with Smash, they all exist in the same universe, but they all have their different places that they're at, you know? I love that too. Of course, using the shield button, you pull up the shield and just block the attack. I just love that. And the boss fights look so well done. The game itself just looks like it's close to finishing. Like, we didn't actually get an exact date. All we got was the year for 2019 was when it was announced, and it is releasing this year. We don't know the window. I'm probably expecting it to be probably around the December time period. I'm hoping for earlier, but we'll know probably the next time we get a trailer for this game. But I think the details on the enemies are so good, and the walls and everything, it just looks so good. It looks so nice. And we end off with Marin singing, and it's so nostalgic to hear that. I know you guys don't know it yet, the Ballad of the Windfish. It's so good, and you guys will be able to experience this game. I know for a fact, those of you guys who were not really too thrilled about everything that happened in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a great game in its own glory, but I'm ready for another traditional Zelda game, and I truly do feel that if you are trying to get into Zelda and you want a good traditional Zelda to get into, I definitely think the next step after playing Breath of the Wild would be to play the Link's Awakening remake for the Nintendo Switch. I do think this has the potential to be some people's favorite Zelda game afterwards, and I'm really excited to dive back in it too. There are a lot of Zelda games to play, but definitely I think because if you already own a Nintendo Switch and you play Breath of the Wild, I feel like it may be best to get this on the Nintendo Switch instead of, say, buying a 3DS to play through Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, or Wii U if you don't already own one for, say, Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD and so on and so forth for the Virtual Console. I definitely think this can end up being your favorite one because it'll be your first, you know, regular Zelda game. I hate saying real Zelda game, but Breath of the Wild was such a departure from its series, and I love what it did, but I'm excited to get back to the roots of what made Zelda Zelda. So that's why I think that this will be your favorite Zelda game, but only time will tell. Did you guys enjoy the video? Let me know by hitting the like button for me. I really would appreciate it. And, you know, share this video with your friends if you think they're gonna like Link's Awakening, or if they've played Breath of the Wild or are going to play Breath of the Wild. We still got plenty of time because, again, we're not even sure when this game is gonna be coming out this year, so we still got time. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is KingdomAce, and remember, my loyal knights, to always look skyward.